Good morning. Welcome to Thinking is Contagious. So Tuesday, we're nearing the final debate on Thursday night. I think we're going to see in the next 24 to 48 hours, we're going to see quite a bit come out on this Hunter Biden situation with the laptop. We're going to see quite a bit of information. We're going to see quite a bit of, I'm sure, photographs and videos, and it's got to be sorted out. But I do think that the lack of transparency from Biden and his camp as to this issue, the avoidance, the hunkering down and running away and not tackling this issue head on, tells you quite a bit. Quite a bit. There's an article that has came out about a week ago, actually, in Corruption News, and it's an op-ed by the news editor, and it talks a lot about, and again, it's a week old, so it's not as up to date. I'm going to quote from it a little bit, but it talks a lot about the situation, and goes back to the second debate when Trump raised the issue about Hunter and about Hunter's connection to the widow of the Moscow mayor, the $3.5 million documented, by the way. Treasury Department reports documented that $3.5 million was paid to Rosemont, the capital. Rosemont Capital, as a consultant fee of some type. But anyway, I'm going to quote a little bit from the article. It says, when Trump raised the issue at the debate, Biden responded by saying that the claim was totally discredited. Given that it's a direct allegation in a government document and Biden is flatly denying it, you'd think this would be a perfect opportunity for the media to dig in and sort out the truth of the claim. Instead, they have essentially punted on the issue. So, if this had been brought up about Trump, the digging would never cease. But with Biden, they go the other way. They control it. They look the other way. They don't report on it. It's selective reporting. Serious journalists would see this for the artful dodge that it is. Essentially, no one disputes Treasury documents showing, as I said, $3.5 million was wired to Rosemont Seneca by the wife of the former mayor of Moscow for a vague consultancy agreement. Hunter Biden's lawyer is suddenly disputing his client's involvement in Rosemont Seneca, which is absurd, okay? Because if you look back, the Senate Intel Committee reported that Biden, and this was on Ron Johnson, was a co-founder of the firm in question. Well, proof of that might be a lengthy New Yorker magazine profile of Hunter Biden from last year, which clearly had extensive cooperation from the Biden team. It was a profile of Hunter Biden. And it reported the following. This is in quotes. In June 2019, 5 months after Joe Biden became vice president, Hunter co-founded a second company, Rosemont Seneca Partners, with Christopher Hines, who happens to be John Kerry's stepson. This was 15 months ago. For the Biden camp to be disputing this key fact now seems awfully convenient. Further, in that same magazine article, Hunter Biden admits to taking an $80,000 bribe from a Communist Chinese Party-connected tycoon in the form of a 2.8-carat diamond delivered to his hotel room. If Biden camp is denying Hunter's role in the firm in question, the media should note the denial while investigating the truth of the claim. In other words, if now today the Biden camp is saying, hey, we have nothing to do with Seneca, investigate it, look into it, see if it's true or not. Don't ignore it. It's just, no, we have nothing to do with it. And the media lets it go. Facebook prevents you from sharing posts that deal with it. Twitter prevents you from sharing posts that deal with it. This control of the media, this control of information, History repeats itself. You'll see it. You'll see it in Russia. You'll see it in China. You will see it in Cuba. You will see it in Venezuela. You will see it in Nicaragua. You will see it in Chile now. This is how they control you. This is how the media is the mouthpiece for those who are trying to subvert America's democracy and America's capitalism. I'm going to go back to the article. For Joe Biden to tell the American people this accusation is totally discredited, the accusation being by the son, when the media hasn't even touched the story, well, honest fact checkers would tell it like it is. Joe Biden stood up in front of tens of millions of Americans on Tuesday night in that debate and told a self-serving lie, a lie that would have been called a four-alarm trouser conflagration if Trump had said it. Naturally, there are consequences for the decision not to report major news such as the Hunter Biden story until you are forced to. And the most obvious one is that the media credibility takes a huge hit. Then they wonder why people call them fake news. The media have adopted a fairly jejune attitude towards their own institutional decline, blaming it on an increase in partisanship and polarization, but they're quick to mix up cause and effect. They never seem to ask how much their skewed coverage, their selective reporting, fuels this. If you would tell the truth, if you would tell both sides of the story, if you would investigate and act as a true vehicle of delivery of information, as a media, true media outlet, a lot of these gray area outlets that are extreme one end or the other wouldn't have an audience, because America could count on getting their information from a reliable and trusted source that's going to give them all sides of the equation and say, here's what we know, here are the facts, here's what we found out. You make a decision based on that. That doesn't happen here. That doesn't happen here. So the same way that they blast QAnon, okay, which is absurd, an absurd organization, their conspiracy theories are so out there, you know, the pedophile ring is so out there, you know, those types of things. Yes, there's no reason for those to exist, and the reason that many of those things exist is because the media itself promotes their existence. People are desperate, thirsty, hungry for a source to find out truth. And within that hunger and within that search, some of these things seep in and create radicals to the left, radicals to the right. The media is making their own bed. Finally, unfortunately, and this is back from the article, unfortunately, the Hunter Biden story is particularly the new normal in terms of how it illustrates the media's willingness to suppress or ignore inconvenient truths. Again, go back to selective reporting. The credulous groupthink coverage of Trump-Russia collusion, as well as the unwillingness to pursue Jeffrey Epstein, an actual pedophile cabal involving very powerful people, also goes a long way towards making things such as QAnon more credible than it should be. None of this is to say that the mainstream press is responsible for anything QAnon does or says, but the media can still do something about America's information crisis. If citizens lacked valid reasons to suspect the truth is being hidden, they wouldn't go looking for it on the parts of the information superhighway where it's a good idea not to roll down the windows. Edicts need to come down from major media outlets about reporting the news when it happens, not when political circumstances necessitate or dictate how a story is to be covered, how a story is to be divulged, how a story is to be interpreted. It's not their job. Their job is to put out, investigate and put out what they learned. One way of preventing such obvious imbalances in coverage is to pursue ideological diversity in newsrooms along with actual diversity. If no one in your newsroom attends church weekly, if no one in your newsroom owns a gun, if no one in your newsroom regularly votes Republican, or you don't have reporters who are going to raise objections about imbalanced coverage, much less understand half the country, it's not going to be the type of media outlet that represents this country. And that's what's happened here. The left has taken over the media outlets, and you're only hearing the selective reporting, which has two objectives: circumvent what's made this country great, what's made this the democratic republic that is the envy of the world, and the capitalist system, which has made this the wealthiest nation in the world, and a nation that the entire world, anyone who seeks opportunity on the face of the earth, if they're asked where they want to go to seek that opportunity, the very, very vast majority, number one answer is going to be the United States of America, because it's the land of opportunity. No matter how much brainwashing the left gives you that if you're not a certain color, not a certain race, a certain gender, you're not going to get there, that's a lie. That is an absolute lie, and it's proven by the facts. Open your eyes and investigate. The entire world risked their life, limb, leave behind family, leave behind homes, leave behind their culture in pursuit of a better life. And where do they come? They don't go to China. They don't go to Russia. They don't go to Venezuela. They don't go to Cuba. They don't go to Nicaragua. They're getting the hell out of Chile. They don't go to the Middle East. Where do they go? They come to the United States of America. People, just think. Thinking is contagious. How can this be so bad? How can this need such a radical change that the left is telling you that that is needed in order to save this country? This country needs no saving from anything other than the left. The only thing we need to be saved from is not becoming Cuba, not becoming Venezuela, not becoming communist China. That's what we need to be saved from. We need to be saved from AOCs of the world. Ocasio-Cortez. We need to be saved from the Bernie Sanders, the Elizabeth Warrens. We need to be saved from the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers of this world. We need to be saved from the Adam Schiffs of this world, the Jerry Nadlers of this world. That's what we need to be saved from. This country does not need the manipulation of the left. The Marxist theory of overburden the system to the point of implosion and then blame the system for the failure and implement your selected system, in this case socialism, capitalism, that's what's happening. The seizing of the education outlets of this country, of the public education, of the private education, of the institutions of higher learning, the liberal rot that has been instituted in these educational institutions over the last 50 years is what has led us to this point. This needs to be stopped, and it needs to be stopped very quickly. I don't know if you saw this week, there's a lot of talk on the Communist News Network and MSNBC about Truth and Reconciliation Commissions, and they're quoting like with what occurs in what they have in South Africa. Have you ever read George Orwell's 1984? What they're asking for is a commission to judge conduct, and they'll be judge and jury, and asking corporate leaders, CEOs, corporate America, politicians, political leaders to come before a commission and be judged. People, we are in a lot of trouble if we let this happen. There's no one that has an open mind that cannot see this for what it is. All I ask is that you investigate. All I ask is that you look into this. No good can come out of Harris-Biden administration. And yeah, I said it that way on purpose. Okay? Because there's no doubt in my mind that if by some miracle Harris-Biden were to win, Joe Biden would not be the president of this country in 2022. Because the first people that will take him out are the left, the Democrats. They will take him out. Suddenly they will come to the realization that Joe Biden is mentally not competent. Joe Biden will voluntarily say he's mentally not competent. Joe Biden has shown, from all indications at this point, and until proven otherwise, the Biden family has shown the acceptance of selling out their reputation and their country for money. What is to say that that's not exactly what's happening today? It happened, in my opinion, again. That's how Barack Obama became president. They took a nondescript, one-term senator, a community activist, a glorified community activist, a very ordinary scholar as far as academics is concerned, very ordinary academic, excuse me, not a scholar, very ordinary academic. They picked him out. They knew he was the right package to put before the country. He's a good speaker. He is comes across well, portrays well, and it was the right place at the right time. They put everything behind him, and the reason that he was chosen is because he knew very well that his shot, his only shot of power, fame, and fortune was to do the bidding of the extreme radical left that wants to cut the legs out from America's democratic republic, America's capitalism, and he was willing to say or do anything to achieve the success that he so desperately wanted. And psychologically, again, my opinion, if you read any of his works, The Dreams of My Father, and The Audacity of Hope, in my opinion, to show his father that he is worthy, that he's not someone that his father should have abandoned and ignored and run out on. Again, this is going off on a different tangent. It's psychological. It's kind of, a deep psychological, but that's my thought. Hey, Dad, look, you were wrong about me. Look what I've done. And to get that, he'll say or do anything. With Biden, he realizes he's getting older. He's got a certain amount of time left. And he wants to grab the golden ring. And whatever it is needed, after 47 years of nothing, of a political career with nothing to show for it except mistakes. Make no mistake about it, all his career has been mistakes. He's been on the wrong side of every argument. Almost every argument, not every argument. He's been on the wrong side of the vast majority of arguments. This is his last grasp at glory. And he's willing to do whatever it takes. He's willing to do anything to try to rewrite and try to make the last 47 years at least stand for something. Guess what? There's no foundation, there's no basis, there's no goodness, there's no credibility behind it. It's never going to happen, Joe. No matter what you do, no matter how much money you put in your pocket and in the Biden's pockets, it's never going to change who you are, what you've done for 47 years. An abject failure as a politician. We need to step up. We need to assure that Trump is president again. And that is what's going to happen in this election. Thank you for listening. And I look forward to the next time we meet. Thank you.